Okay. That's you. That's you. Says Lee. That speaker's on. Okay. Oh. Uh, Rose, are you still on? Do you still hear us?
Yes, I still hear you.
Okay. What time is it?
It's
Should we wait
6:32.
Should we wait to 6:35 or something?
That's fine.
Just be all here. Not much of a breeze. So, whenever you want to get started, you can say, let's get started. Okay, we can get started now.
Would you like Rose to go ahead and read the?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, welcome everyone. If this is your first time joining us virtually, you will notice that you are currently muted and everyone will remain muted throughout the meeting except the committee co-chairs Wilma and Barbara and any presenters as we move through the agenda. Following the presentations, the chair will call on members of the public wishing to speak. You can participate by going to reactions icon on your device and pressing the raise hand button, not the wave or thumbs up, as those will disappear. Only press it once. If you press it a second time, your hand will go back down. If you're calling in on the phone, it is *+9 to raise the hand and *+6 to unmute. Be on the lookout for a prompt asking you to confirm unmuting once the chair's calls on you. The chat is available for technical support only to help with Zoom software problems, not to ask questions to the chair. They will not see the chats. If you are using an older version of Zoom, you will need to go to participant sections where you will find the raise hand feature there. Please do not raise your actual hand or wave at the screen because we may not be able to see you. And you can chat me because I'm here for support. Over to you, Wilma.
Thank you and good evening to everybody. This is a seniors and service, health seniors and service meeting. And I am very happy that it seemed like everybody came to the meeting. We having this to present these presenters to and these different organizations to let people know about the different activities that they have in our community. And my name is Wilma Johnson. I'm co-chair of this committee, and Barbara Rudder is co-chairing with me. And we would like to start by having Lenox Hill Star, please announce your name. And this is Lenox Hill Neighborhood House starting. Is anybody here to represent Lenox Hill? Here's the pictures.
Hi, I'm Jasmine McFarland, Deputy Chief Program Officer at Lenox Hill Neighborhood House.
Good afternoon.
Good evening, good afternoon. And I have my colleagues here with me. I have Evelyn Garcia. I have Brianne Ross here with me as well, and Rachel Bender, Chief Program Officer. So I'd like to talk to you, I'd like to talk to you all more about our older adult services. See if I can share my screen.
We can hear you.
Great.
Okay, no, you can share your screen now.
Thanks, Rose. Okay. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay. So for those who don't know, Lennoxville Neighborhood House is a settlement house. We've been in the community in the Upper East Side of Manhattan since 1894. We just celebrated our 130th year birthday. We're one of the oldest and longest running settlement houses in the nation. We currently have multiple programs. We have our early childhood center, teaching kitchen, which you'll hear more about a little later, our fitness and aquatics program, women's mental health shelter at the Park Avenue Armory, Casa Mucho, which is a supportive housing building. We have food services, visual performing arts program, and adult education. But I'd love to talk to you a lot more about our older adult program.
Thank you.
So to start, we have 2 older adult centers. The center at Lennoxville Neighborhood House is located on the corner of where we're located on 70th Street. It's the only older adult center on the Upper East Side that's open 7 days a week. We serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner. On the weekends, we're open from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. We serve 2,500 active members, and we have a full calendar of daily programming. It's pretty extensive. So our first center is our second center is at St. Peter's Church, which is at Lexington Avenue, with East Midtown. So for those who live in that neighborhood, which is actually CD6, are more than welcome to come to both centers, but that one's open Monday through Friday, and we serve lunch there. To qualify for our older adult centers, you just must be an older adult, 60 and over, and must reside in one of the 5 boroughs. One of the programs that we offer is fitness and aquatics. So members enjoy our pool, our fitness center, our gym, classes, which include yoga, boxing, Zumba, water size, meditation in the pool. We have these classes that help members improve their strength, their balance, their coordination, and it doesn't matter what your mobility level is. Like, we try to meet you at where you are. We have our visual and performing arts program that includes artists and drama teachers. They lead music, dance, visual arts, writing classes. We actually just recently had an art show that displayed all the artwork that our clients have done, and it looked like a nice art gallery. We promote emotional and mental health well-being, offer a welcoming environment for creative self-expression. It doesn't matter what level you are, you're able to express your artistic side. Now, every year our members put on a performance. This year we're doing Guys and Dolls Senior. We've done Into the Woods, we've done the Music Man Senior. So this year is Guys and Dolls. Our members are very involved and they're very excited about it. So coming up in June for 2 weekends, we're going to present Guys and Dolls Senior. We have an adult education program that provides free English language instruction. And these ESOL classes use an integrated skills curriculum. So our members participate, even parents in our early childhood center participate as well. We have technology education, where we do tech instruction. So our trained staff and volunteers offer an hour-long one-on-one tech help, which helps people learn how to use a tablet, use their smartphone, use software on their computer. We have walk-in hours, we have group classes, and they touch on different topics like privacy, security, password management, touchscreen basics, and the list goes on and on. And again, Evelyn and Brianne will talk about this more, but we serve healthy farm-to-table meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Our social services team at our centers help members access and maintain government benefits like Medicare, Medicaid, SNAP, SCREE, Accessoride, help with Social Security issues, stipends, getting emergency grants. We help clients navigate housing challenges. We're seeing that more and more where rent is unaffordable. So trying to help connect clients to resources. We coordinate with volunteers to help provide a community escort to get to appointments and run errands. In addition to that, we do provide mental health support, and we have a partnership with Greenwich House. And our mental health supports include one-on-one supportive contacts, art therapy, and we have different mental health support groups. Right now, we have Beads of Joy, which seems to be a very big hit, mindfulness, meditation, and stretching, psychology and cinema, and much more. So our Greenwich House partnership with them, they provide on-site services both our centers and individual therapy sessions with an on-site licensed clinician and also groups. So if you'd like more information on our older adult centers, here's a general number regarding membership and just questions around that. But for social services help, like with applications and benefits and advocacy, this is our numbers 212-218-0569. And I'll share this information later on today.
Thank
One
you
of
very
our
much. Okay.
No, sorry.
One of our other programs is our care management program, and this is geared towards our homebound older adults who live on the east side of Manhattan. We provide clients with accessing government benefits as well. And if they need assistance with escorting to medical appointments, ensuring that they have resources that they need in order to age in place safely. We provide referrals for home delivered meals. We've partnered with Stanley Isaacs. They've been our meal provider for years now. So we coordinate that, in-home personal care and housekeeping, transportation, home safety modifications, caregiver support, all kinds of resources. Our care managers do their best to connect to these services. We also provide social supports, which helps minimize isolation. We have a friendly visiting program where a volunteer goes to the home to visit clients. They do wellness checks, wellness calls, and there's also linkage to other supports, online groups, mental health support. And back to our home delivered meals, our care management team does coordinate the meal deliveries. Clients have the option to choose between regular meals, vegetarian, kosher, or halal meals, depending on what the nutritional needs are. If a client doesn't answer the door, let's say our volunteer does try to deliver the food one day and no one answers the door, our care management team is notified and we're able to call the client to make sure that they're okay and there's no emergency and assess any other need. If you or someone you know would benefit from that service, please feel free to contact 212-218-0506. Now, onto another program that we have for older adults is our Social Adult Day program, which we call the CARE program. This program is geared towards older adults who have Alzheimer's or other forms of dementia. So we use a very person-centered approach. It's a 5-day-a-week program. It's hybrid, and we help increase socialization while providing respite for caregivers. So we try to increase client interaction through participatory programs like art, music, pet therapy. That picture there is actually one of our former therapy dogs that we had. We have storytelling to help increase memory and reminiscence and get more clients involved. So right now, like I mentioned, it's a hybrid program, which means that there's in-person and there's also Zoom. So there's days where people can tune in via Zoom and also be present in person. We have, for clients who come in person, we provide breakfast and lunch, nutritious farm-to-table meals. And our teaching kitchen, who you'll hear from in a little bit, presents interactive demos right there with our clients so they can smell the food and see how it's made and taste it. But in order to be eligible for this program, a client must be 60 years or older, not able to function independently and need more support throughout the day. And they have to have a dementia diagnosis as supported by a doctor, which means they just fill out a form confirming that they have this diagnosis. There are fees. It's eligibility. It's income based, so it's $80 a day for in person, which includes breakfast and lunch. $50 a day for virtual. But if a client is unable to pay for the services, we do have other options to help meet the need because we don't want fees to exclude anyone from joining our program. So if there's anyone who you know who may benefit from this program, please feel free to contact the program director. Her name is Justine Tete. Her contact information is here. And again, I will share these details at the end. And we also have a caregiver program, which works very closely with our care program that I just spoke about. And this program is set to support the caregiving dyad, which includes the caregiver and the care receiver. So we want to make sure that both needs are met for both people. We offer supportive counseling, support groups, which are virtual and hybrid. Our staff also conducts home visits. We create a safe space to share the caregiving experience in our group, so that way caregivers can talk about what's going on and support one another. We also educate caregivers on how to improve their skills, because oftentimes we find that people don't expect to be caregivers or aren't even aware that they are caregivers. So the staff also offers case assistance and support through helping the caregiver access and navigate government benefits for the care receiver and also for themselves. We offer free respite and supplemental services for eligible caregivers. So that can include a home attendant who can go to the house to be with their loved one while the caregiver gets to go out and take care of their own needs. In order to be eligible for the caregiver program, which is funded by NYC Aging, all of our programs are, it has to be an adult who's 18 and older providing unpaid care for an older adult, or someone 18 and over providing unpaid care for an adult of any age with dementia or Alzheimer's and related disorders. An older adult relative who's not a parent, who's 55 years old and over, providing care to children 18 and younger. I know this sounds very specific, but these are the guidelines, but we try to make it work for people who identify as caregivers or aren't quite sure. If you have any questions on the caregiver program, you can contact our intake line or contact the caregiver program. Her name is Jasmine, program director name is Jasmine Reyes, and that's her contact information there. And those are all of our older adult programs. But if you have any questions, I know I kind of breezed through some things. Please feel free to reach out to me. As I mentioned, I'm Jasmine McFarland. I'm the Deputy Chief Program Officer. There's my email address. My phone number is 212-218-0499. And I'd like to introduce my colleagues, Evelyn Garcia and Brianne Ross, who will talk more about our teaching kitchen and how they are integrated in our older adult programs.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Evelyn Garcia, and I'm the Teaching Kitchen Executive Chef, and I'm accompanied by my colleague, and I'll allow her to introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brianne Ross. I'm just going to share my screen to pull up our slides. Okay, is everyone able to see that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, Evelyn, do you want to get started?
Absolutely. So again, I'm Evelyn Garcia and my colleague Brianne Ross, and you are looking at the team. We are the chefs that are spearheading our farm to institution model at the Lenox Hill Neighborhood House.
And I can talk a little bit more about what farm to institution actually means. So for our kitchen, we serve between our two older adult center sites, our women's shelter, the care program, and our Head Start program. Our cooks serve about 1,800 meals a day, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And all of those meals are 100% scratch cooked and locally sourced whenever possible. So we source a lot of our produce, our grains, our poultry from both the New York State and the Northeast region. And what does farm to institution actually mean? So we're thinking about those whole grains. We're thinking about having diverse produce and also thinking about the diversity of the dishes themselves. So having culturally relevant recipes for all the meals for the clients that we serve.
And we have found that engagement not only with our clients, but the organizations that we train that are interested in our farm to institution model is extremely vital. So having our clients know firsthand the importance of why we are so gung-ho on these farm to institution meals, the benefits of them being local, the benefits, the nutrition benefits. We have actually partnered with NYU dietetic interns that come and lead workshops for our older adults in both the care and our older adult center. And it can be anything simple from how to make a vinaigrette to how to prepare quinoa or any other, ideally local grain from your CSA, or how to look forward to any new meal, any new dish that's actually being introduced into our very own menu. And it's literally a platform, if you will, for our clients to be able to ask any questions that they may have. If they're interested in helping us with the preparations, very simple knife skills, or just learning how to best store and purchase ingredients, seasonal ingredients for these recipes has become extremely, has allowed us to have our program be extremely successful and broadening the clients, not only their mindset, but their palate as well.
And so Evelyn and I actually work with the Teaching Kitchen program. So we're not the chefs who are cooking the food for our clients every day. That is a team of very talented ladies working in the kitchen. But what we do is we do those engagement activities that Evelyn mentioned, and we also have a training program for our staff from other nonprofit organizations. So when you say institutional food, a lot of people think of, processed food out of the box, canned, frozen. And so the model that we have is, not necessarily the norm for institutional food. And so we've had staff from other nonprofits reach out to us and, ask questions about what we've been able to achieve at Lenox Hill. And so that's where the Teaching Kitchen program grew out of, was that interest from other organizations. And so over the years, the training has really evolved. So started off as a 3-day training, went down to 2 days, 1 day, and it's now a 4-hour in-person training that we do with staff from nonprofit organizations across the board. So older adult centers, childcare centers, shelters, food pantries, schools, really anyone serving a government-funded meal can come to this training for free. And in the training, we work with them to set some goals for their own organization. So we are in the kitchen, we're working with the recipes that we serve to our own clients. And then everyone who comes to the training walks away with some goals that they have that they want to achieve in their own food service program. And those goals can be really, really simple. So, a lot of the organizations that we work with maybe don't even have a knife and a cutting board in their kitchen. And so we set that as a goal for them to buy a knife and a cutting board, and then they can start, fabricating fresh broccoli to serve, something like that. And it's kind of these series of small steps over time that we're working with all these organizations to help them transform and move away from that processed food and more towards this farm to institution model. And over time, we've trained over 250 organizations and impacted over 18 million meals with this training program. And with this program, we also have quite a few resources. So we have 2 cookbooks, both available in English and Spanish. So we have a Farm to Institution cookbook, which is all the recipes that we serve on our menu at Lenox Hill, scaled to institutional portions. So those are 50 portions. So, probably not something that you want to be cooking at home. But we have another version of this cookbook that's scaled to family size portions that we give out to the families in our Head Start program. But both of these cookbooks are available online as PDFs on our website for free. So if anyone ever has interest, we definitely have clients in the older adult center who are like, I love this, red pepper salad dressing. Where's the recipe? And we can very easily share it with them with those cooking demos that Jasmine and Evelyn mentioned. We're sharing those recipes on there. And as I mentioned, they're available in English and Spanish because Chef Evelyn was able to translate all of that. We also really try to be open source with all of our resources. So we have the lesson plans that we do for our cooking demos and engagement activities available to organizations, our vendor list, our resource list. So really trying to provide as much information as possible for the people we work with.
And most recently, we've been really focusing on making sure that we network as much as possible and become familiar with other organizations, like-minded organizations in the food policy realm that can potentially provide us with, or the other organizations to train, or just kind of be able to bundle different resources for the organizations that we train. Again, we have partnered with Grow NYC, which is where we get a lot of our local/regional food for our own kitchen. We welcome them to come to our trainings and actually present themselves, present their business model to the organizations that they train. So if they're interested in becoming or partnering with them and having them become a vendor, we offer that segue to that resource as well. We have worked very closely with New York City Department for the Aging most recently. We have invited them to our trainings. They actually form part of not only the trainings, but the overall communication with the organizations that we do train. They're involved in the beginning stages from the introduction to who they are, the type of organization that they are, or I should say the site that they are, how many clients they serve, the demographic of those clients, and they carry on to offer support as well with the goal execution that is set at our training. So they've been very hands-on. And again, we try to emphasize that there's full transparency with our program, with our resources, with the partnerships that we have developed. And again, we have worked very closely with various interns from both Hunter College and NYU to be able to provide additional support for not only the resources that we develop, but for the engagement that we offer the wide array of clients that we serve. The cookbook that Chef Brianne mentioned earlier, I should also point out that aside from it being in Spanish and in English and us having two different versions, one for the institutions that we train and one for the clients of our older adults, as well as the early childhood center that we have, the recipes are scaled for 4 to 6 portions, making it easier for them to be able to recreate these recipes. But the recipes in the cookbook have been approved by New York City Department for the Aging. So all of the recipes there, they're easy, can be easily introduced to the menus of a lot of these older adult centers. They've been approved, they meet all of the requirements. And most recently, we have found, especially with new guidelines that are being introduced, a sense of intimidation, if you will, from a lot of these organizations for how to carry on more plant-based meals, more culturally diverse meals. And we've been able to offer those resources based on our own farm to institution model that we run at Lenox Hill.
And then with that, I guess we were just going to open the floor for any questions. I realize we didn't include our contact information on here, so we can be sure to include that in the chat. If you do know of, any if you have any questions just about the menu or the food that we serve at Lenox Hill, we're happy to answer that. Or if you know any staff and of any organizations that would benefit from our training, you can reach out for that.
Okay,
well.
thank you very much. Barbara was to ask a question.
I'd like to ask a couple of first of all, just a comment that it's overwhelmingly wonderful what you do. And as far as the food goes, you want to send the recipe book to the Chancellor of Education. Maybe we would do better in the schools if they had that. First of all, I know you mentioned some of the things that cost money. What about the beginning programs, the swimming, the exercise, the senior, the food, dinner, lunch and dinner that you serve? Is there a charge for it?
For our older adult centers?
Yes.
There's no charge, but we do take donation of a donation. So it's $1.50 per meal. But if that's if one has it, right?
And I guess that's the other question I have is, how do you make money? How do you get your resources to supply all these wonderful programs?
So most of our funding is from the government. So for our older adult programs, the majority of our funding is New York City NYC Aging funding, although we do receive some funding from the state. And then we raise private donations and foundation support as much as we can, but we are heavily reliant on the government, primarily NYC Aging in the city.
And the third is, a lot of people are looking for volunteer type of opportunities. Are they volunteer, and what would you do if somebody wants to volunteer for one of these programs?
We would love volunteers, and we do love volunteers. We have hundreds of volunteers that support our work each year. Primarily, actually, we have many older adult members who also volunteer within the centers, which is really wonderful. So they teach classes, they serve meals, they do reception at the front desk, they answer questions, there's greeters for new members. But you don't have to be a member to be a volunteer. We have lots of people volunteering, from reading books to children to helping with technology education. We have a whole volunteer page. Yeah, we have a whole volunteer page on our website. I'm happy
Okay, great,
to
thanks.
find it and drop it in the chat.
And I guess I have
Okay.
one more. How do you become a member? Do you fill out a form, or what do you do?
I'm sorry, I keep muting
As a
myself and
senior,
unmuting
what-
myself.
how do you
It's
become-
so you just come to the center. We do have some new membership hours that you can find on our website. Otherwise, you can just walk in when we're open with your proof of age and proof of living in New York City. So that could be a mailing address, that could be your government ID, and you fill out some basic questions, and then you're a member.
Thank you.
Okay. We have like a couple questions from the public before the next presenter. Just one or two. If there's anybody online that wants to ask a question.
Maybe Rose would call the people.
Rose,
Did
anybody
raise
online?
their hand?
I don't see anyone raising their
Okay,
hand.
so we're gonna go right to the next presenter. Thank you very much
Thank you.
from Lenox Hill. Thank you so much.
Robin, I am unmuted you.
We're gonna
Thank
have,
you. Thanks.
yes, okay, the certain care. And would you introduce yourself, please, Robin?
I would be happy to. Hi, I'm Robin Stration from Search and Care. We are a small nonprofit, started on the Upper East Side at Holy Trinity Church on 88th Street by a minister, finding so many people in need of service long before Meals on Wheels existed. Our model is primarily geared to the older, more homebound older adult, and that's why you'll see when I share my screen, our programs and services are meant as impediments to people's ability to age in place. But everything we do is free of charge. You just have to be 60 years or older and live in our service area. And I'll show you what that is in just a second. And I also want to say that we know all the organizations that are joining us tonight. I want to thank CB8 for asking us to participate. And let's see, get to the beginning. And we all work together ultimately because, as you'll see, many of us do different things. Okay, you can see this, right? Everybody can see what I'm
Yes.
looking at? Yeah, okay. So I think what we all have in common is we all have an interest in working with older adults, giving them as great a quality of life as we can, helping them to age in place and live longer in New York City. I like to tell our elected officials that what we do together helps New Yorkers stay New Yorkers. So I told you we were founded in 1972 at a church on the Upper East Side. And our service area began as Yorkville and Carnegie Hill. About 15 years ago, we grew into East Harlem. So now we go all the way up through East Harlem. And during the pandemic, some of our funders said to us, there's nobody who does in-home case management services on the Upper West Side. So kind of bizarre to think back on it, but during the pandemic, we literally doubled our service area. Our primary door is care management. As you've heard from Lenox Hill Neighborhood House, this is something that they do as well. My hat's off to all the social workers who really are like the most amazingly unrespected workers, because they deal with so many issues, trying to put out fires, supporting people who are really desperately in need in many, many cases. But I'm going to focus on the services we provide that are, I think, unduplicated by some of the people who are participating tonight. And the first is, I think, a very important service. It's called Money Matters, which is a financial support service. The first social worker, Sue Chandler, realized that if our mission is to help people stay in their home, it probably behooves us to make sure that their rent is paid. So that's sort of how she got back into doing what was called daily money management. And we sort of put a different spin on it. we hire retired financial pros who work one-on-one with our clients who want this service in their homes. They help open mail. What is a bill? What is not a bill? And this is a nice, smart way to help ensure that people hopefully are not being financially abused. We assist with paper organization, debt reduction, conflict resolution, anything that really goes into making somebody more financially stable. We can't, in some cases, we do provide stipends, but I like to say we can't make money exist where it didn't already exist. But this is really important for people who have trouble paying their own bills, are forgetful perhaps, etc. This is really kind of unique, I think, to Search and Care. It started because so many of our clients have pets, and it's tandem with the fact that most of us on staff are pet owners. And it's geared for our clients who have pets. If you don't have a pet, then you won't understand what I'm about to tell you. That pet is family. It's not the four-legged thing on the floor. Whether it's the cat, the bird, the turtle, the the birds that clients may call doves, but are actually pigeons. They're all pets. And we, over time, not only have had volunteers to help with this, but also attracted funders to help with food because especially now, it's even harder for people to afford to feed themselves and care for their pets. And we don't want people to have to decide, do I buy my prescriptions or do I buy my pet food this month? So we have funding that helps with vet care, medications, grooming, all the things you need to do when you're caring for a pet. And one of the most important things I think we do is a conversation about advanced pet planning. For every client that has a pet, we have a conversation with establishing an emergency contact for that pet. And hopefully that means that pets are not going to go into the already overburdened shelter system unnecessarily. We have wallet cards that we give to our clients that say, alert, there are pets at home. And these wallet cards are actually great for anybody who's a pet owner. It doesn't matter if you're 20 or 90, if something happens to you on the street. And you need to know, the EMT people need to know that there are pets at home. We do have workshops throughout the year. If anybody wants to join us this Thursday afternoon at our office on 94th Street, we're having a workshop for dog owners. It's called Dog Sees Dog because so many of our dog owners have little dogs and there's aggression issues or fear issues when they're on the street and see bigger dogs. Medical escorts. We started this program about 10 years ago because at that time, the only organization providing it was Derote. And so many of our clients couldn't get access to their program. So we actually hire people to do this by the hour. They're mostly retirees themselves. They safely escort a person from their home to an appointment and back. They don't sit in on the patient-doctor portion because of HIPAA laws, but it's very important for people who have mobility challenge, vision challenges, and anxiety to have a companion with them. One of the nice features of this program is that the escort calls the day before just to check in with the client. Sometimes there's a change in pickup time. And in order to access this service, we do require an in-home assessment. We must have to make sure your home is appropriate and that you're able to walk unassisted by another human. Well, who would have thought technology would have been so important as it's become during the pandemic? Even before that, our goal has always been to connect our older adults with the skills they need in order to use technology, whether they come to it because they want to be able to communicate with their grandkids using email or Facebook, etc. And now, because of healthcare, doing telehealth and MyChart, it's never been more important. So our model is one-on-one coaching. The only groups we have are really game related because that's fun. But we work specifically one-on-one with people because our clients are not going to want to ask questions, that they didn't get something in a class, that they want to have it repeated again and again. You know, it's really like a language. And so it requires often repeating, coming to it from a point of view of interest. For example, we have clients who want to go on dating sites. We have clients who want to look up salt-free recipes. We have clients who want to go shoe shopping, or et cetera. So that's kind of how we get people involved with technology. Most recently, we have a grant that connects us to Metropolitan Hospital, our wonderful local public hospital. We're working with a lot of the clinics there and helping their patients learn how to access MyChart. If any of you listening tonight are Metropolitan Hospital patients, we would love to hear from you. We'd love to help you. And we have ongoing tech workshops that they're also invited to join. Here's an example of one of our events that we've had trying to attract people to come to learn about MyChart. That you don't have to be a Metropolitan Hospital for us to teach you how to do this. And then I guess this is somewhat of our last door. I know a lot of you have groups. Certainly, we cannot compete with Lenox Hill Neighborhood House with all the richness of their programming. So of course, we do have some groups. We're not a go-to center like they are, but we do have a really interesting cognitive-based program that it was a 12-week course, and we'd be happy. I don't know that anybody else does something like this. It's specific to a company called Goodwin House, which is based in Arlington, Virginia. And what their business has been primarily is housing, excuse me, Bill, housing and programming for seniors. So this is an evidence-based program. It requires a curriculum which we give for free. They're two small groups. One meets once a week in person. One meets once a week virtually. And the curriculum requires you to do 3 things for just a few minutes every day. And each of these three practices stimulate the part of the brain that has to do with memory. They're simple math exercises that you time yourself doing. By the time you finish the 12-week program, you've realized how much quicker you are at doing them. There is a reading aloud portion. And then there's a portion where you're instructed to write about a specific topic. If you can't write by hand, you can do it using a computer. This is not for people who have had a diagnosis. It's for anybody who's interested in joining the program. My colleague Jacob is the coordinator of this program. So I hope you're interested in some of our programs, whether they pertain to you or perhaps a neighbor. We're located on 94th Street between 2nd and 3rd. And our phone number is 212-289-5300. I just want to give a note based on a question I heard Barbara ask earlier, and I might anticipate a question that you're going to ask of me, which is, how are you funded? And we are predominantly a privately funded organization. A little bit more than 10% of our funding comes from government funding. And part of that is, actually, I'm happy to say, through a contract we have as a subcontractor with Lenox Hill Neighborhood House. We have been delighted to be partnering with them for quite some time in order to provide Meals on Wheels on the Upper East Side. But please know that we work with everybody you see here tonight. We're happy to. It takes us all to make a community. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Robin.
Okay. Want to ask for questions?
Any questions from anybody?
CJ Mosman?
Hi, CJ.
Hi. Hi, Robin. It's so nice to see you on this call.
Great to see you too.
So hi everyone else. My name is CJ Mossman. I am a community board member. And Robin, I want to say first and foremost, I still have my pet card and I keep it on me. And I have a couple of questions. So you had mentioned that your Silver Circles program with learning technology, is that run by volunteers?
Well, the coaching is often done by volunteers. We have some that are volunteers. We have some that are paid coaches. It's a combination. Cool. But the whole program is run by staff.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So my question was, if I know a teenager and they may or may not need volunteer hours, are you somebody that I could refer them to?
We prefer somebody 18 and over. The only teenagers we've worked with are through a wonderful program at Regis High School. I don't know if you know of it, but Regis is a local private school. It's all boys Jesuit school, and the school gets to pick from the best and the brightest in the metropolitan area because everybody who goes there on full scholarship.
Yep.
So we get about 10 kids every year. They have to do this in their senior year. And because it's during the daytime when we're in the office, it's Monday, it's a weekday thing, we're very comfortable sending them in pairs to our clients' homes. We don't send them individually. If you had a pair of teenagers, we'd be very happy. So we prefer people 18 and over.
Wonderful. I really appreciate that. And then the other question I have, I already know the answer to, but if somebody was interested in having a paid opportunity to help escort older adults to medical appointments, how would I go about doing that? And what is that process like?
I'm so glad you asked me that, CJ Mossman, because you have been an excellent medical escort. You call me. Robin at Search and Care. We have a conversation. I want to make sure that you can speak, that you can walk well, that you'd be comfortable, that make our clients safe, and they feel safe with you. We do pay by the hour, and that's where the conversation begins. It's really makes sense if you live on the Upper East Side or Upper West Side. I personally, I volunteer a lot. And I find that if it's not geographically convenient, it becomes a chore. And when something becomes a chore, it's no longer on my to-do list. That's just how I personally feel. What else did you want to ask, CJ? Thank you so much for your questions.
Thank you. Okay.
Those are all my questions. So thank you very much. And good to see everybody tonight. Thanks
thank you.
again.
Yeah, I
Nice to
love
see you
seeing
too.
you. I keep looking for you at community board meetings. You leave before I get. You have to say hello next time.
Then we have.
I will. I'll be at the
Oh, board.
that too, but you'll see me when you
Thank
see
you.
me.
Right.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Gemma
Okay,
also
Gemma.
raised her hand.
Kelly Isaac. What? Gemma.
Hi, Gemma.
Hi, nice to see you. I
You
just had a
too.
quick question about the Money Matters program.
Yes.
I'm somewhat familiar with it because I know that we've referred some clients to it. But I only know of it through like our case conferences. What is the I guess the concern comes with do people get accepted if there's cognitive difficulties? Because I do find that like our older adults who do have needs for like bill paying assistance and stuff like that, a lot of it is related to memory. So I just wanted to know in terms of, obviously when you're making a referral that the capacity, it's a good match.
That's a good question, and it comes up a lot. And I think my answer to that would be, who is the backup to that person? Is there somebody that's appointed as executor? Is there another person who's legally connected to that person that can step in? Otherwise, we're sometimes put in a situation where we don't want to have to make decisions on behalf of somebody. It's a conflict.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope I answered your question.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, Gemma, you're up to.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Hi everyone. My name is Gemma Marins. I am the Aging Services Program Director at the Isaac Center. So similarly to Lenox Hill, we also are a settlement house. We are part of the Goddard Riverside Network. We joined a strategic partnership with them about 2 years ago, but Isaac's also independently was also a settlement house model. So I specifically work with older adults. We are located on 93rd Street between First and FDR, within the Isaac's Homes development, which is a NYCHA development. We operate as it's kind of unique to the world of aging, older adult centers, in the sense that we are a hybrid center. So we operate both as an older adult center and a NORC. So the older adult center is your straightforward senior center, where if you're 60 and older, you're eligible to be a member as long as you're a resident of the 5 boroughs. But we also serve a NORC, which stands for naturally occurring retirement communities, which goal is to provide support to people to be able to age in place. So NORC is a little more specific in terms of who can be a member. That is specifically people who are 60 and older, but they live specifically in the geographical location dictated by Department for the Aging and the state. So for our NORC, we operate both of the city and state contract. And to be a member of the NORC, you have to live within the Isaacs or Holmes development. So that's the 5 buildings that surround our center. So the reason why our center is unique in that is that most settlement house models that have a NORC and a senior center will typically operate separately. And they had in the past, the older adult center and the NORC has operated separately, but we have chosen to combine it together. It allows people to feel less excluded or separated by the 2 programs. And this way everyone's able to access services, and then we kind of deal with the admin kind of stuff in the back end. So I don't have a slideshow. I definitely got to step my presentation game up. So I got some info from the wonderful programs here. We work in collaboration with a lot of the programs that I see online here as well. So it's, if anyone was at the Live On rally, it's really nice to be able to gather in a space both to talk about older adult programming and also advocate for older adult programming because of how little funding older adult programming is. So it's crazy to see just how many programs are being provided by all these different service providers, and how amazing the programs are. And even then, we're still not reaching like the capacity that we would like to be able to. So as I stated, we operate as a hybrid model. The main distinction between the services that are provided by our older adult center contract and our NORC contract is that our NORC focuses very heavily on case assistance and case management, as well as healthcare assistance and healthcare management. So we still provide programming, we still provide trips, we still provide meals to those members. However, our contract more dictates that we're providing intensive supportive services to make sure that the older adults that we're serving in our NORC are able to age with dignity in place and the resources and the support that's needed to keep them where they are. Our older adult center definitely focuses a little more on, we do have case assistance. We have a lot of different recreational and educational programming, which I'll share in just a second. We also serve congregate meals. We only do lunch right now, but we do a dine-in lunch and a grab-and-go meal. And then we have birthday parties, cultural events, intergenerational programming, art programming. If there's a program you're interested in, we likely have it. Yeah, it's a really fun place to come by and see, and it's really amazing to be able to see all the older adults that are really taking advantage of the programming. I'm also a big advocate of program hopping because I believe that in true social work nature, I think that one of the best things you can do is encourage people to utilize the resources that they have. And I think that while we may be limited in some ways, a center like Lenox Hill may be able to support the older adult in a way that we may not be able to. And I would rather the older adult thrive in their aging process than them feel exclusive to their center. So props to all the other programs that are on here. So I'm really quickly just going to share my screen so you guys are able to see. So in order to become a member, we do ask. So in order to participate in any of our programming, we do ask that you become a member because Department for the Aging rules state that we need to get client consent for them to collect their information as well as for them to participate in programming. You do not need to be a member to attend lunch. If you come for lunch and you're an older adult, you can just come and say you're a senior guest, and you can just sign in. And we also have the grab and go option for people who either are a little more weary about dining in person still, may have some health restrictions that stop them from being able to dine in. Or if you're just not able to sit down and dine in, then you have that option as well. So one of the things also that makes our center unique is we have a social work walk-in. So we like to market our no wrong door approach. We do not have a wait list to meet with our social workers. This, creates its own unique experiences for the older adults that come to our center. But I do think it is really valuable because for a lot of people, it's just getting that ease of being able to talk through something with someone. And what better than an old social worker who specifically works with older adult services. So as of right now, we did just not lose in death, but we did lose one of our social workers. So our hours are a little more limited than they have been in the past. All of our social workers on staff right now are bilingual English and Spanish speaking. Our clinical supervisor just actually went on maternity leave, but she speaks Mandarin. So typically we are able to offer services in both English and Mandarin. However, our Mandarin services will be on hiatus right now. So right now we have Mondays 9 to 11 a.m. for walk-ins, Wednesdays 9 to 11 a.m. Sorry, it's actually 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. And then also Wednesdays 2 to 4, and then Fridays 2 to 4. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, there's an opportunity to speak with a social worker. You can come in without an appointment. These are meant to be brief. So if you have an urgent need, you need someone to look over something for you, the social worker will be able to determine if it's like an emergency and the client needs immediate attention. However, if not, typically this is a good opportunity for them to do like a mail review, explain an issue that they have going on so that the social worker has some more background information and can make a follow-up appointment. Sometimes it's just as getting assistance uploading documents for a benefit or an entitlement application. So it really is just a real opportunity for people to drop in and get their needs met quickly. We also provide daily transportation. So we utilize our bus for daily bus trips. Again, this is one of those programs that we do ask people to sign up for because it's we want to make sure we're getting credit for the program, but also just for safety reasons, it's important that we have the person's information should anything happen, as well as emergency contacts for people. So one of the things that we try to do with the bus trips is make sure that people's interests for the trips are being met. We utilize it to take people, we all know the Upper East Side cost of living is pricey. So we utilize these trips to be able to take people to access different stores that they may not have in the area. We take them to places like grocery outlet, Aldi's, some of the bigger Targets, Walmarts. And then there's also places where they get to do their own personal shopping, which, everyone should be able to buy things and enjoy the money that they've worked so hard for. And then also we like to be able to provide cultural trips to like museums, parts of the city that people otherwise would not be able to get to if they didn't have this transportation. It's starting to pick up as the weather has gotten warmer. So we do ask that people come. It is first come, first serve. People can come in at 9 o'clock to sign up, and then the bus typically leaves around 10 a.m. The trips are subject to change. However, for the most part, we do follow this schedule. And we go everywhere in we go all over the 5 boroughs, and then we try to go up to like Yonkers, Westchester, and then we also travel to Jersey as well. So every day we send out a daily email, and it includes this attachment, this link to this attachment with these flyers, because the files are too big for us to include on the email. So people are able to view this every single morning when they get the email, to see the in-person programming flyer. So we have the programs listed from week to week. And we also have the menu for the week, so people can know ahead of time of what we're serving. Something that we definitely take pride in is our monthly calendar, because it's a great opportunity to kind of showcase what programs have happened the past months, and some nice photos of members. You can see, we have the monthly birthday party. We have people that had attended. We have a picture of staff looking at the solar eclipse. So it's a nice way just to kind of lock in place some memories that are happening at the center. We have our staff directory listed here as well. So we have a really robust list of programming that include exercise classes, dance classes, cultural groups, nursing walk-in hours, social work walk-in hours. We have Cafe Stanley, which is a way for us to raise a little bit of money for the center, which is we have it Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, as long as there's no conflicts. And you can come and get a 50-cent cup of coffee, some cookies, a snack, and all the money goes back towards programming at the center. We have chair yoga, we have billiards and board games, we have dominoes. So there's a really wide variety of different programs that people can attend. We do have some online programming. It's definitely dwindled a little bit more as the pandemic, I wouldn't say the pandemic is completely over. COVID isn't completely over, but we are working towards a new normal. So we still offer some hybrid programming. Another thing, so during the pandemic, we had a lot of programs that kind of grew as a result of the pandemic. One of those being our pantry and our pantry team. So we've been a New York Common Pantry partner for a while. So we operate as a site for the New York Common Pantry Nourish program. That's a program specifically for older adults, 60 and above, and they have to meet a certain income guideline, which typically is in line with whatever the income guideline is for Medicaid. I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but I think it's somewhere like $1,500 a month right now for a one-person household. As of right now, the program is the list is closed, so this is only open to people who are already signed up, but we do add names to the wait list. We just don't know when that wait list will open up again. The big, prideful one we have, new partnership we've developed through the pandemic, is Food Bank for New York City. So Food Bank for New York City is a weekly pantry that's held every Wednesday from 9:30 to 11. It is first come, first serve. It is open to any any age. So this is open to the entire community. And they give out some really great stuff. It is all non-perishables just because of the storage we have for the pantry. But you can get anything from canned tuna, olive oil, milk, cereal. The bag is packed with nutrition in mind. To sign up for this pantry, you don't need to come ahead of time. You can sign up the day that you come. They'll sign you up, they'll register you, and then within a week or two, you'll get a Plentiful card, which is a card that we use to check people in. And you can use that card at any pantry. There is an income guideline. It is a self-attestation form. It is our practice to not turn people away. So, if you sign the form, you sign the form, but we won't turn someone away, and we don't require proof of the self-attestation. It's your self-attesting and you sign the form. So we understand that for a lot of people, sometimes the income guidelines can be tricky because maybe $1 or $2 over. You may not be sure about the other, income information of your household. So this is a great opportunity for people to be able to come get food if they need it. Lastly, so this program is currently on pause, which is sad, but we are looking to start it up again, is Soups Up. So Soups Up is a program that was started in a direct response of Get Food NYC, which was the food program that was developed to address the food need during COVID. It was developed by the city, and then the Department of Sanitation took over, and there was a lot of flaws with this program, and Soups Up worked to directly address that. It was a direct response to unemployment rates with younger people. So we were able to streamline those who are in the culinary program at the Education and Workforce Department into this program to work to create these meal kits essentially that come with fresh produce as well as a prepared item like a soup or a salad or a grain bowl. So that's a weekly program. Our list is closed as of right now, and the program is on pause because we are going through a staffing transition, but that is a really highly utilized program by our members. We've partnered with Search and Care with, for tech assistance. We also are the meals for the Lenox Hill Meals on Wheels program are prepared in our kitchen. We have committees where members are able to provide their input of the things that they would like to see at the center. We have a monthly membership meeting where we provide updates for the upcoming month. So we have a lot going on at the center. Yeah, sorry, I'm like running out of steam. We also partner with Cornell for their medical clerkship. The medical students do a medical clerkship, and they come to the center to do brief medical screenings and answer brief medical questions, such as, if people are concerned about the COVID vaccine, they could ask general questions, they can get their blood pressure checked, they can get advice on how to manage chronic health issues, insomnia, sleep hygiene, etc. So, there's tons and tons and tons of programs that we have. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen now. I think I've talked about all the programs. But yeah, I think, the programs we offer are very, very versatile. We really try to incorporate what the older adults want to see and would like to do at our center. And yeah, it's a fun place to be. It's a really great community. So, Rose has put some information in the chat, which includes the link to the Google Drive file for our programs for this week. But we send out a new link every single week. And then also I've included the information for Vincent Chang. He's our program coordinator. He is my right hand. I would not be able to do anything without him. And he would be the best person to direct inquiries to. So if you have any questions about programming opportunities, if you need referrals to the different programs that we may know, if you're trying to get if you know someone who may want to register, he would be the best point person. So yeah, I think
Thank you, Gemma. One question from Barbara.
I have a general question. What is a settlement house? I meant to ask everybody else the question. What is the definition of a settlement house?
My social work professors would be very, very upset at my poor description of this, but essentially settlement houses were developed as a way to address needs of the community. So there's various settlement houses across the city that serve different geographical locations and areas. And the idea is that if you want to be able to serve the baby and serve the grandma from the same services, from the same place.
That's great.
So it's kind of like your one-stop shop of services.
Yeah. That's great. And who runs the intergenerational program?
So we actually have a coordinator specifically that runs it.
I'm thinking of you call her Lorraine Wilma Johnson. Does it, right?
Yeah, she's a big part of. We do have a coordinator on staff as well, named Lorette, who helps coordinate. She facilitates a relationship between our Beacon program and
Lorraine is here running. We're co-chairs of this committee, and
there's tons
of the programs with her.
She dips her feet in a little bit of everything, but yeah, we definitely rely very heavily on our older adult participants.
Right.
to run the programs that we do, because they're the ones who really have the interest and the passion, and they make things happen.
Right.
So,
Thank
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
very much, Gemma.
Yeah.
CJ also raised her hand. You can unmute now.
Thank you.
Oh, she muted again.
Oh,
Sorry.
No worries.
I just wanted to say thank you, Gemma. That was a great presentation. I just had a couple of quick questions
Mhm.
that you would be able to answer because you had mentioned them, but I had missed the answers. So you said that all of your services are only for members. Is that correct?
So anyone can come in for the social work walk-in hours. We do prefer people to be members to access services, of course, but for programs specifically, just because of Department for the Aging regulations, we do need people to be registered to attend programs.
Right.
But
Thank
if
you.
someone has, if someone's curious about programs, or they're curious about becoming a member and what that means, and they have an urgent need and they want it addressed by a social worker, and they're an older adult, they could come in, and then the social worker would likely schedule a registration appointment after that social work walk-in. And then they can also come for meals.
Awesome. Thank you. And then my other question was, you had mentioned that you have a pantry that's open to anybody who comes.
Yes.
Can you just remind us of what those hours are and where the location is?
Yeah, so our
Thanks
pantry,
again.
our food bank for NYC pantry is every single Wednesday. It runs from 9:30 to 11. However, my advice is, since it is first come, first serve, my advice is people shouldn't come any later than 9:30, because anytime after 9:30, I cannot guarantee that we'll have like number cards. So what we do is people wait really early. Sometimes we have people waiting as early as 6 a.m., which we try to discourage, because of course we don't want people to be waiting that long. However, people, unfortunately, there is an increased food need in our community. And when there's a need, we have to serve the need. But we can only do so much with what resources we have. But yeah, if people come by 9:30, then we're always, for the most part, we're able to serve everyone. But it's when people come at 10:30 that we typically run out of bags by then. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Gemma. Appreciate it. The last, anybody else to ask a question, Rose?
nobody else has a question.
Okay, thank you. So we can go to the last presenter, please.
Erica?
Hi, everyone. Yes. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. So just like Gemma, I do not have a presentation, and I did inform the community board that I wasn't going to have a presentation because this is more of a informal getting to know you and you getting to know me. So my name is Erica Torres. I am the acting manager for community affairs at New York Presbyterian Weill Cornell Medical Center. Some of you might know my counterpart, Andrea Bland. She is currently on parental leave and will be back in July. But my other colleague, Rachel Maldauer, got an invite to this community board meeting specifically because we are aware that New York Presbyterian is heavily involved with senior programming and a lot of the community-based organizations here. So I'm happy to see familiar faces, familiar names. And I just wanted to open up the dialogue to you all. Part of our job at New York Presbyterian when it comes to community work is to leverage the hospital's resources into the community. So what does that look like? It looks that we can move a lot of our folks, our internal healthcare speakers, our volunteers. We can provide capacity building, technical skills, etc., through various channels. A lot of our work, which we identify in Northern Manhattan, which is actually my campus, is trying to expand that work through the rest of New York City and Westchester. So we do a lot of work, and we partner with Lenox Hill Neighborhood Houses, the Isaac Center. Who else was on this call? I believe I think they logged off, but I'm
Search and
happy
care?
to
Nursing care,
search and care. Yes.
yes.
So I'm just happy to hear everything that's happening. One of the things that I believe you all keep asking is that everyone's interested in volunteer opportunities. Our hospital employees, especially our nurses, are highly interested in volunteer opportunities. So if there's any way, and I can share my contact information here, that all of you can share those open volunteer opportunities that we can circulate amongst our listservs, engage our internal communications team where they can do a huge blast to our entire enterprise. New York Presbyterian has 11 campuses, and Weill Cornell Medical Center is linked to 3 of them, or 4 of them actually. So it's linked to NYP Queens, it's linked to NYP Weill Cornell, NYP Lower Manhattan, and NYP Brooklyn Methodist. So though you are all based in the Upper East Side, the academic arm of our institution is highly involved throughout the rest of New York City, just as New York Presbyterian. So I would like to hear, is there any opportunities that you would love for New York Presbyterian to be involved in? How can we help you, amplify your efforts? Yeah. Gemma?
I actually have worked with Andrea before in the past, so I'm, happy to hear she's doing well. I would say that one of the biggest things I've learned working with the older adult community is that they are suckers for learning opportunities. I think that in addition to just the, keeping your brain sharp and helping your cognition, they just love to learn and they love to be equipped with knowledge. So I would just echo that there's definitely an interest in medical related presentations. And I think a really big hot topic is memory and memory loss topics, because I think that for some people getting older is an easy process, but I think there are certain parts of that process that are scarier than others for people, and a big part of that is understanding memory loss. And I think people are really interested in the research, really interested in understanding how they can navigate that process, what kind of resources are out there by your hospital as well, because we, as service providers in the Upper East Side, a lot of our members do go to your hospital. And then the other thing that is really interesting, that would be really interesting, I think, to see in older adult centers is maybe doing presentations on understanding what palliative care and what hospice can mean for people, because I think also, something that's kind of taboo and we don't really talk about, which, has kind of sparked something for me, is speaking about also that other part of the aging process, which is also death. And that can be a really difficult conversation for people, but I just know from personal experience for a lot of people, making that decision to transition to palliative care or hospice can be really scary, and a lot of people just don't understand it. And we have a really great team with VNS, with Partners in Care, with a nurse and a health coach that can help navigate people through that, but that's not necessarily the case, or they may not be engaged with that service. So just like a overall presentation on what those services can mean for people would be really interesting to see.
Thank you so much for sharing. That's very insightful. I jotted that down. Robin?
Thank you. It's nice to meet you, Erica.
Nice to meet you.
I want to focus for a minute about pets, because for people who have pets, unless they have an emergency contact, it can be an impediment to them taking care of themselves health-wise, going to procedures, having an operation, putting it off because there's no one to take care of that pet. I have a relationship with a nonprofit called Paws New York. We also have a partnership with Animal Haven, a fabulous shelter downtown. Together, the 3 of us have a grant from PetSmart Charities to address this. It's about creating opportunities for older pet owners to address their healthcare needs by having supports, making sure somebody's going to be able to take care of their pet at those times, not on an emergency basis, but on a planned basis. We've met with, of course, the Aging Center and another division called Community Health. If there are other centers within any parts of your hospital, we would be happy to talk with them about how to help them.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful.
Thank you.
You know, the first topic that comes to our minds and when we think and we reach out to our healthcare experts is always nutrition. And I know Lenox Hill Neighborhood Houses presented on their teaching kitchen. So we do have community nutrition specialists that are always interested in giving nutritional health talks. So if that's something that you want to leverage from our hospital, you can definitely please let me know. You know, through Carter Burden actually, and I don't know if they're on this call, but we are working with our pharmacy team and we're piloting the first polypharmacy workshops. So this will be in the fall for, and they'll be engaging also residents from St. John University and educating our seniors and our older adults on, you know, educating them on going through your pills, your medications, what's expired, what's not expired. Do you understand like what you're taking? And those are important topics, right? Because health literacy is also linked to that. And, you know, we all think that, oh, if the doctor explains it to you multiple times, it will register in our minds, but it doesn't, because there's like, you know, for many people in any age, they could be taking 10 different medications and it could be confusing, right? So we're doing that. And I would love to allow, like maybe when Andrea's back, how to share the success of the polypharmacy and see how we can spread the wealth with all of you here. I'll bring it back to my team about, you know, what Gemma suggested and what Robin suggested, but happy to hear any other input and anything else that you would love to see from us.
I get the emails about your program about different health issues, heart, you know, cancer. And I haven't gone to enough of them, but they're very interesting and I think very informative. And
that's great. So I just shared with Rose my contact email, but you know, if no one else has any further information, I do have a huge announcement that we're announcing to all of our community organizations in New York City and Westchester. So I'm not sure if you're all aware of our New York Presbyterian Community Fund. So the Community Fund is a grant opportunity that we launched last year in 2023. And it was open to all of community-based organizations throughout New York City and Westchester. And it's a direct result of our community health needs assessment. So the community health needs assessment is a strategy plan that we do as a hospital every 3 years. We're actually planning to start for 2025. And, you know, our community health needs assessment identifies the priority neighborhoods, the communities, and also highlights where work is needed that are linked to social determinants of health, right? So there are three key areas that the community fund, we identified that community-based organizations needed funding in. So that's social isolation, housing insecurity, and unemployment economic recovery. And the community fund offers grants ranging from $75,000 to $150,000 annually, which is up for 2 years because it's a 2-year grant and the amounts can be split. So the maximum award is $300,000. And again, this is offered to all community-based organizations in New York City and Westchester. And we're happy to announce that the application went live today. And I shared that with Rose. Feel free to go to our website, apply. If you have any questions, there is an FAQ. My colleague Sean and Gabrielle oversee the community fund, but we're very excited to offer this grant opportunity to all organizations in New York City and Westchester that need it. So again, any further questions about the community fund, please let me know. And yeah, this is exciting stuff.
Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone that participated. Thank you so much, Rose and Will, for being there for us. And you all have a great evening. And the information was massive.
it was
fantastic.
So impressive.
Yeah.
We have to start taking advantage of it.
I had no idea all this was going on.
Right. Thank you.
Anyway, thank you so much.
We move to
Mhm.
adjourn.
Yes. It's better to move.
Thank you.
Okay. Rose, we're finished. Thank you,
Perfect.
Rose.
Thank you.